We're live.
Sweet. All right. So we are now live potentially to billions of people, but not. Okay. So welcome everybody.
Trillions?
Trillions. Well, yes. So Rain, I have a theory that because we're recording this and this is digital and could last for an infinite amount of time, what we're doing now today could be seen by trillions of people. Right? If there's an infinite amount of possibility in the future, then one of those futures perhaps has a trillion people watching what we're doing right now.
Or you can have multiverse, parallel verse. You don't know.
Oh, it doesn't even have to be in the future. Like literally in another universe, we're being watched by another parallel universe. We're being watched by trillions at the moment.
Right. Another brand could be watching this brand right now. Who knows?
Hey, all right. So, but according to Restream Chat, we have two people watching. And I am so excited today because we're actually like streaming to the Seeds graduate group. That's great. So people who don't know our guest today, and we're going to start like really, really soon. Geez, I didn't even have time for much of a pre-show. Is from that Seeds graduate group. So I think it's 11:11. David, you're our producer. Should we get going with our show? Whenever you're ready, you just cue the music. Okay? No, he's not talking.
Did we lose him?
I think we've lost them. Okay, so then we'll continue with the pre-show a little bit.
10 seconds left.
Oh, okay. We're just sorting this out. Like, this is literally our second day with David doing all these graphics and being this, the person that's running the show, the AV. So we're kind of just sorting out our stuff, kind of going with the flow a little bit. So you're right at the beginning of a new era. This is like
the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah, this is like episode 86, but they're very much still the beginning. Okay, so I'm going to, while we're, okay, go for it. Oops, hello, Maggie.
Hi.
You're stepping in. We're actually live right now.
You've tuned in to COVID Marketing with Brett Kobayashi and Arthur.
Do you want to put your video off, or do you want to join us?
The show that supports small business not just to survive, but to thrive.
All right, everybody's on. Okay, go for it, David.
The whole fam is here.
I know, this is so good. Go for it, David. We usually have music around now. Maybe the music's happening and I just can't hear it. Oh, Arthur, did you share? Let him actually share screen?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want me to just start screaming without music? I can do that.
Hold on.
All right. So then we're going to continue. Obviously, the story that... Oh, there it goes.
You've tuned in to COVID Marketing with Brent Kobayashi and Arthur Tutt. The show that supports small business not just to survive, but to thrive.
That's right. We are live with COVID Marketing episode number 86. We come to you week daily at 11:11 Eastern Standard Time. If you have questions on marketing or business or, well, whatever, you let us know in the comments wherever you fine folk are seeing this. I am Brent Kobayashi, president of Kobayashi Zeitgeist, a marketing agency here in Toronto, Canada, and with me is Mr. Arthur Dutt, a marketing specialist at KZ. Okay, we made it. We're actually live.
We survived.
We did it. Okay, we got a bit of a different episode today.
Feeling some different vibes, some different energy.
Hang on, stop. I thought you guys were going to wear your glasses or your shades, but that didn't happen.
Jeez. Wow. Rain,
what do we say about celebrating mistakes?
I love.
Yay.
Yeah. Yay. So everybody who's on this show knows that I love saying celebrating mistakes and all that type of stuff. My team is like, God, he's saying that again. I'm just going to actually introduce you. You're Rain, Dr. Rain Lim here. I'm so excited to have you on. Is the person that introduced that concept and many other principles and concepts into my life. And it actually literally changed my life. So, all right.
Well, I'm here to take over your show today, though. So I'm excited to be here. Great. Oh, wow. Look at that cool shade you have, Arthur.
No,
I need to
no
take
idea what
my
you're talking
mic.
about.
Awesome. So instead of your show today, it's going to be Origin of Wisdom Biztalk show, and I'm brains on marketing and digital marketing, and all that you do. And yeah, I'm excited to learn from you today.
The tables are turning.
This is so good. All right. So go for it. What would you like to know? This is your show.
Awesome. What I know both of you have introduced yourself already, so I don't need to introduce you. And thank you for introducing me, first of all. What I would like to know, if you could just explain briefly, what is digital marketing? I think for me, I've just kind of jumped into that world again this year. As you know, I started my online show, and Arthur's been supporting, and Brent, you've been supporting me in online marketing. But really, what is digital marketing?
Huh.
This is a rabbit hole.
Actually, yeah, it's a form of marketing that feels like a rabbit hole to many. So I actually believe digital marketing is just marketing. It's just, in our world, we start segmenting out different bits, and sometimes you say, hey, online marketing, digital marketing, all the stuff that happens with websites and social media and chat. Everybody says, okay, that's where it's at, right? So digital marketing is where it's at. And people get very excited about those things because it feels like there's a little bit of a gold rush sometimes, at least every now and then there feels like a gold rush. Like right now, there feels like there's a TikTok gold rush. But really, it is anything that is online computer-ish. So that can be websites that people think about, email, chat, but it's also things like remarketing, which is if somebody's kind of visited you or they might see your advertising in a game that they're playing. It can be optimizing to be found on search engines. It can be press releases or PR, where you're actually connecting with the media via digital, Twitter and email. That's all digital marketing, even though PR is often not thought of as digital marketing. It could be actually figuring out how to be the top of Alexa, like, hey, Alexa. Sorry for everybody that has Alexas out there. It could be just trying to get to the top of those responses. That's also, so even billboards outside is now becoming digital marketing, because you can transmit your files to that billboard and it can be worked through that way. So it's one of those ones where, even TV and radio is all becoming, so it's a lot of stuff. And that's why I think many people are a little bit overwhelmed by it. I would actually encourage anybody who's thinking of digital marketing, and there can be specialists that you work with, like maybe an SEO specialist, but to think of it just really as marketing. It's just that there's a lot of new things that are coming at you now. It's not just TV and radio anymore, or print.
Brent, would it be fair to say that there's businesses and there's consumers, the people who buy the stuff, and marketing is kind of the bridge in between?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a gap in between businesses and consumers. You're the business, people have to find you somewhere. And now a lot of that gap is electrons. So it's basically between the business and whatever this thing is, whatever's in their hand and whatever they're looking at. Everything that bridges that gap is marketing. And then because so much of it happens online, that's where we get digital marketing from.
Yeah.
Awesome. So as you mentioned, it can be overwhelming. Like in my world, I feel overwhelmed. Like social media, it's like kind of supposed to be social, but now it's kind of like work. It's no longer social. It feels like, right? So what would you recommend, like for small businesses, especially if I'm, because there is a lot of platforms, right? Different streams to, market my business and my services. What would you recommend for me to start off with, perhaps, or not just one, maybe a couple, but where do you think it's a good place to go?
So I would say it actually depends on what your intention is and how long the game that you're playing is. So if it's kind of short term, I want to get sales, and there's very specific tactics, right? So LinkedIn, getting into the community and publishing content and commenting on other people's contents that are kind of in your area, connecting with people is a great way from a business to business perspective. Facebook, although it has a great business to business perspective, Facebook, in terms of, say you want to generate leads for a service-based offering, or like you're holding classes or you're doing an event like that, Facebook with their advertising Facebook lead gen forms is brilliant. And then if you're kind of looking for a younger crowd, TikTok can be really, really super viral. So there's that sort of thing where you can look at it and you can ask somebody like us, well, I've got these specific objectives, what I'm doing, and therefore what should I do right now? However, that's short-term, near-term type of thing. One other thing, if you just need to make sales, like you think somebody's going to be looking for you, you're a Toronto lawyer, and you want them to just buy from you. So that's advertising. That usually goes to Google's AdWords platform, which is somebody is typing in literally words they're searching for, showing a lot of intent to purchase, and therefore are more likely to convert to a customer in the very near future because they're close to buying. However, having said all of that, one of the things I'd say for especially small businesses, all businesses, but we'll talk small businesses right now, is the world is online. Like the pandemic literally just leapt us forward 10 years out of everything that was already happening anyways, as far as all of this digital adoption and all that type of stuff. It was already there. So I would encourage every person that's thinking about this or wondering how to do this to realize that it's a process. And I would think maybe do a few things. One, realize it's going to take a long time. So pick something that you enjoy. Like if you're selling, I don't know, something that resonates with adults, but you enjoy TikTok, do it on TikTok. Like, because you're going to be doing this for a long time. You're going to be learning for a long time. So just settle in that this is going to be a process, and then just do that thing and learn it and relearn it. Observe what other people are doing and just realize that this is something that layers on over time. And I would also really encourage people, if you are feeling a little bit resistant to all of this sort of thing, realize that if you're a business owner, you probably want the results of income or revenue or clients or even having an impact on the world. And you can't do that without people. And all your people are out there waiting to be communicated with. And this is what the digital marketing online world is. So do it. Like literally get yourself into it. Choose a medium that feels a little bit more natural to you first. So if video is not it, that's fine. Do audio or do written word or do photography or whatever it happens to be. And then I know you actually recently did a video challenge, Rain. And you've really, really upped your game from video. Realize that video is actually a lot of where it's at. And honestly, I personally look at it as a growth thing. If you're not sure about how to fully show up on screen, this is a great way to just sort of get through those things that are making you say, oh, you kind of don't look good and this isn't perfect, and all of those voices in you. The video is so good for that. It just like literally breaks through a lot of that stuff, or at least brings it up.
Well, Brent, I think you bring up a really good point there, that I think a lot of what actually stops people from getting started is the fear of judgment.
Yes, the fear of judgment. It's not working. It's not worth my time. I'm not getting the results I want. So you're very much forward in the future.
Not getting the ROI.
Not getting the ROI. It's a waste of time. All of that type of stuff. It is not a waste of time. At minimum, you're learning. At minimum, you're figuring out who you are and what things are working for you and not working for you, and learning, and maybe getting a little bit of feedback on what that means for you. So yeah, that's where you should, and be gentle with yourself too. If you need a warm bath, a hot bath at the end of the day because you've been like, geez, these TikTok people are crazy, then yeah, be gentle with yourself.
Awesome. Thanks, Brent. That's a lot of information. Yeah, I realized when I started doing my videos, I learned a lot about myself. And that's why recently, I think both of you are Seeds graduates, I sent out an email talking about, I'll be running a program, right? Self-expression through social media, which is more about what you were talking about. That's my specialty, is learning about yourself in the process of it. Now, I know you talk about video marketing, right? And now this, that's growing. Where do you think that's heading? Part of the thing that's coming to my mind too is even just look at YouTube. That's a lot of videos, like gazillion videos are posted every day. And then you got to market your video too. Like what are your perspective, both of you, in regards to that?
Okay.
Like how much competition there is?
In terms of, because there's competition, therefore you need to market your video too, right? But where do you see it heading to? Like, do you have a sense?
Yeah. So one of the things that's happening a lot with video is, one, of course, is very easy to do. So more people are getting the sense that they can do it. Two, people are getting a lot better at entertaining, at providing some sort of value. It can be educational, but also very often is entertaining. It also is a little bit of both, right? So, we do all the stuff. We have our glasses, we have the big shouting intro and all that kind of stuff. And then we get into some, I think valuable advice. So really kind of that, the mode and the delivery of that type of stuff is ever evolving. And again, I know I say this a lot. We say this a lot on the show. Go to TikTok to see where the world is heading. It's young, sure. It's already aging up. So you're getting people, you get scientists on there doing stuff and everything else like that. And the brilliant thing about TikTok is it shows you what transitions, what beats, what music, what ways of doing things on video especially are working well. It used to be YouTube with all the jump cuts. All of a sudden, everything, the person would talk and they wouldn't try to fade in between and do the nice pans, all this stuff. The person's just talking and then it cuts rapidly between different scenes, which would normally be covered over and made beautiful. And that became a really big thing, a really big mode. TikTok now has a lot of that kind of stuff. Short content, really interesting, a lot of repetition, stickers and flags and GIFs flying all over the place. And we're taking some of the stuff that we do on this show and cutting it down to there. So that's where the future is heading. The interesting thing is when a lot of people move in one direction, it opens up the space, especially for somebody in the other direction. So on TikTok now, there are some people that are going, all right, everybody, let's take a breath. I'm going to talk to you about meditation. Like this is the exact opposite of TikTok, right? And then going through what that means. And that suddenly pops because it's different. It's so interesting the way this thing, it's like eddies in water. It ebbs and flows. It goes all over the place. New things are created and destroyed, I guess.
On that note, I saw a news article this morning that Snapchat has just released like a new meditation app. And again, same ideas, like the juxtaposition. It seems like they're just like complete opposite worlds.
Yeah. So you asked, where is the world going with this? I would recommend everybody go on the platforms that are popping and do something there that's aligned there, and then bring it into other areas. So if you do something like in Snapchat and save that messaging, and you follow the Snapchat sort of vibe and feel, and you put it up in Instagram, you're probably going to stand out on Instagram. Same thing goes the other way around. It's just that the younger platforms are usually the ones where there's most innovation. And so you can really like if you take a TikTok video that's actually informative and you throw it up on LinkedIn, everybody's gonna be like, they're suddenly wake up. I just scrolling through all of this articles of information and things that I should do and 7 steps to have the best business in the world and all that kind of stuff. And all of a sudden you entertained me and you gave me hopefully gave me something value, because that's where you would want to do that on LinkedIn.
That's valuable. I love that. It's like kind of like a disrupt, strategy, right? Disrupting what's happening and in general, that's what we're doing with innovation. But it sounds like in platform, that would be a great way to get attention as well. And that's what you're saying.
100%. Everything about marketing is about interrupting the flow. There is so much flow right now, Rain. Right? You know it. There's so much information. Like we are processing ridiculous amounts of information right now. It's just flying at us. And so much about marketing is interrupting that flow. And interrupting that flow isn't screaming louder. Interrupting that flow is doing something different, adding something that's valuable to the whole mix of things. Which is why I know with Origin of Wisdom and the practices that you do in Seeds Leadership, which I'm just going to give a plug right now. Everybody go to seedsleadership.com, sign up for everything that they've got to offer you to sign up with, because it'll change your life. It's changed my life. Arthur, your life is like completely different right now. You're no longer an engineer. You're with us.
I'm adding a link to the chat here.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, thoroughly epic. But your ability to sort of interrupt the flow and speak with your brand voice, that's what will change the pace. So I think we've talked a little bit about Seeds Leadership, bring it into the business corporate world with the Origin of Wisdom, and what you could say there online that's more business oriented. And right. The answer is yes. And you can also talk about those quotes and those personal development and heart-centered stuff. And there's a huge amount of people who suddenly say, oh, this isn't boring and this is different. And I'm into that stuff and it resonates with me. And I actually want my team to be better and all of those things. So I'm so excited to see what you continue to do with that part of it.
Well, I think for me, I'm still figuring out, but I think one thing I've realized too, it's really important to be you in the midst of everything, which is kind of what you say. You got to find a platform that suits you, because different platforms, they're different, right? So if for a business owner, yes, I know there may be double with a couple of platforms, but I know you mentioned that based on the business or the services they're providing and the intention, then different platform will meet those needs. Would you recommend a business to start with one platform first, or test 2 or 3? Like, is there a guideline for that? Like, and also, what would you recommend? It's a good budget for them if, let's say, they're going to invest in production and advertising, right, and all of that.
Gotcha. So. I would always recommend, first of all, the owner or general manager or somebody high up, if you're not really doing this, to be the one that starts to play in it, so that there's an understanding. Because once you get into the digital marketing space, there are so many of us, right? The barriers to entry are super, 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 super low. That doesn't mean there's anybody who's getting into it, they're going to do an okay job. But if you don't understand it and you kind of just let it go, then you're probably going to be one of those businesses. And we've seen many, right? Because this has been a thing for like 20 years now, especially, where They got excited. They hired somebody. They let it go. They weren't really paying attention. And then eventually they're like, no, it's not. All we're doing is spending $5,000 a month. I don't know if it's working or not. And they kind of just stop it because there's no real intention behind it. It just seemed like a place to put the money because you thought that's what we're supposed to do these days. So I would say definitely participate at whatever level, especially the owners of the business or the managers. And I would start with one. I would almost say randomly pick one, or pick one that you like. Or maybe pick one that you hate, because quite frankly, if you're like, I hate Facebook, the chances are, well, with Facebook, there's billions of people on there. So you got something in you that's stopping you. Basically what you're saying is, I hate marketing. It's like saying, I hate billboards, so I'll never do billboards, even if billboards brings you money. Like, you wouldn't hate the yellow pages. Like, I mean, yeah, sure, it might be annoying or something like that. But as a business owner, would you hate the yellow pages? Especially if you put an ad in there and you got business? You wouldn't. So being moral, or kind of moral around something like Facebook, because whatever is happening, it's happening. This is where the world is. So as a business owner, I'd say jump into the game wherever it happens to be. So I would start with one, and do it regularly. Practice, get it to, I'm posting once a day, several times a day. If you're starting with LinkedIn, I'm actually looking up a hashtag that's relevant in my industry, coaching, for instance, and I'm typing in conversations and sharing the articles and commenting on those posts that come up in those, and you're paying attention to the people around you. I would actually even say we are connected with so many people right now as friends on, say, Facebook. And if you're not talking about your business every now and then, they don't really think about you in relationship to your business. So all the opportunities you got there, you're just missing. So maybe just engage more on a simple platform like Facebook. It's easy to do. Most people already know how to do it. So start with one. The next question you had was budget. So what I would recommend you do from a budgetary perspective is, don't think about, should I spend $500 a month or $1,000 or $200 or whatever. I would actually step a little bit back and say, my current revenues are X, 50,000 a year, 100,000 a year, 200,000 a year. And therefore, I am going to spend a certain percentage of my revenue. Now, generally, and this is like a really big, too big of a generalization, I would say 10% in this day and age keeps you steady. So if you're making $200,000 revenue in your business, it's a small business, maybe you hire 1 or 2 people, contractors, then you should be spending $20,000 to keep steady on your business. Your $20,000 in that case is probably to see if you can find the thing that you could invest more in, because you now know it returns something. If you're looking at growth, if you're looking at figuring this out, I would say just go as high as you can. Like, literally, if you are making $50,000 a year and your expenses are $10,000 and you're living, and you don't have to extract anything from your business, like, invest it all. Like, this is where it's at. Like, especially if you're not with the times yet, like, put in as much as you can. Now, if you don't have the cash, then you're investing time, which is fine. You're investing time, and at some point investing in the ad spends, which you can't do without time. So you're investing in paying Facebook or Google or whatever to spend on some advertising dollars. But yeah, I actually wished that Facebook allowed me to boost my personal posts, because I know not everybody sees them. And so much about business is the people that you know, even just the personality of who we are. And so I would actually pay money to say, hey, everybody, I think this one's actually worth you seeing, of, I don't know, whatever funny thing I was doing. So I would encourage you, if you're not sure and you're just getting into Facebook, especially, let's just say that, just think who your target audience could possibly be. Take that post that's about your business, give it a $10 or $20 boost, and then see what happens. If it doesn't seem to work and you don't get a reaction from it, remember a couple things. One is people saw it, you just didn't realize that they saw it. It happens all the time. All the time, people saw it, they just didn't realize that you just did not realize that you saw it, because it seems a little bit of a void. And the second thing is experiment and say, well, what if I do it with this color? What if I do it with this animation? What if I do it this way? And then see which ones gives you a little bit more engagement. At minimum, do that. Just $5, $10, just play. Just think of it as if you're paying for some education, and you're putting that away towards education, and then actually pay attention and see what the results are.
The R&D budget.
Yeah, think of it as an R&D budget. That's a really good way of putting it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great way, R&D, because everything you kind of need to test it out too, right? So as you've mentioned it already, marketing. We could have the best product or services in the world. Without marketing, nobody will know, and then you just have a good product that belongs to you, or service that you have. Pretty much that's it.
In your pocket.
Right, and of course, this day and age, it's digital. Everything's going, like right now, it's overwhelming. Like there's so much that I'm overwhelmed by it. Now, what would you, so, we have a lot of social media platforms and different kind of platforms you mentioned in the beginning, right? And that's part of digital marketing. Could you just briefly, you don't need to go into detail, the different platforms, what are maybe their strategies or other strategies or the purpose of each platform? For example, I know LinkedIn, it's meant for professionals, right? So whenever you're on that platform, it's more businessy, it's talking business stuff, right? So if you could just kind of give a sense of, all the different platforms, what are their focus? And so this way, whoever's listening kind of know, what, TikTok, like you said, it's kind of more quick, the younger crowd. And so this gives a sense of business owners who are listening. Okay, so that could be a target group that fits my product or services. So if you could just kind of go through those that and share some of what you think their focus are.
Gotcha. Okay, so I'm going to go through that. I will do that. I would say, though, keep in mind these are generalities, and when I say LinkedIn professional business to business type focus, that's what's expected there. Sure. And there's a lot of people on there doing sports and fitness and lifestyle. So when you say it's generally this, then it might mean that might not be where you start if you're in that. But as you build up in other areas, you definitely want to put attention to there. You don't just dismiss it. So LinkedIn, yes, business, we already talked about that. Facebook, okay, I'm just going to get this really right out there. Facebook is not families and it's not old people. It skews a little bit that
Boomers.
way. Yeah, boomers.
Yes, I learned that word boomers from my daughter.
Yes. Okay, apparently Arthur, at least especially me, is a boomer millennial. Actually, anyway, I'll tell you that story later. Facebook is everything. Like literally, Facebook is everything. It's business, it's lifestyle, it's young because they're on there, because their parents are on there. It's older, it's mid-range, it's everything.
It's Facebook and it's Instagram.
Yeah, Facebook and Instagram kind of tied together from a marketing perspective. We ran a B2B business targeting older dentists. No problem, like a campaign. So anything you say that Facebook is, just dismiss it. Oh, and before I continue on, if you kind of want to know general age demographics, so you're trying to making a choice, just Google it. It's changing all the time. When I talk about TikTok is aging up, it's because it's going from the 9-year-olds to the 15-year-olds to the 20-year-olds, and now they're the 50-year-olds on there killing it. Twitter is a little bit more tech, political,
News.
It's still very healthy as far as actually having conversations with people that you just don't know. So Twitter is a very wide spread of people. Instagram is sort of that middle age space, very obviously photo heavy. That would be anything that Instagram is kind of that place where anything you want to target the soccer mom, right? If you think of that, that mid-range 30 to 45, maybe as a family, maybe thinking about a family, kind of getting professional, but still out on the, going out sometimes on the night. That might be Instagram. TikTok's the young crowd, but I actually think the killer thing with TikTok, I mentioned it before, is you do something on TikTok and then you bring it to your other platform and it'll be instantly more engaging. Pinterest, I'm not sure where Pinterest really is at, but it's typically known as the more female and a little bit more fashion and design and all of that kind of stuff. Snapchat, I have to admit, I've never really taken the time to understand Snapchat. It's still fairly popular on people that are sort of on the younger side. WhatsApp is all over the place, right? Young, old. People are just using it for, oftentimes right now, it's usually more used as a utility, a chat utility. But if you've got like a group starting and you want to have a lot of engagement, WhatsApp can be a great place to be. Where else? Tumblr still is around. I'm not sure of the age range of that. Reddit is an interesting platform, but I'm not sure generalities on that one either.
Awesome, thank you. I'm going to test out your recommendation of doing TikTok and then bring stuff to the other platform.
Yes.
We're going to see how that goes.
Rain, you just made Brent's like
That's it. The 2020s are fine now.
Really? No, it's good now after all once.
Yeah, I was just like, geez, how is this going to turn out? I wish something good was happening in the horizon, with this pandemic and all of this stuff. And then Rain's going on TikTok and it's like,
I'm going to look at it first because I downloaded it. I don't know how to use it yet. So
yeah,
we'll see. So I have just two more questions. I know that today is supposed to be a longer session. I know your shows are typically shorter. The other thing that I know, I'm surprised, and I noticed that there are still some companies who don't really either have a website sometimes or a good website, So I would like you to talk a little bit about, one thing that I've been thinking about is, what makes a good website, right? Like usability, graphics, because, it has also evolved over the years, the way it's presented. I myself was in the .com era many years ago in the industry, and I see how websites has evolved to the way they're designed. I guess that's the word. So, and I would like you to share a little bit about that, about what makes a good website.
Accessibility.
Yeah, that's actually a new one that is becoming more and more important. Is it's accessible to everybody, regardless of their ability. So if they have some vision challenges, motor challenges, that type of thing. We do actually have some episodes on that specifically. We recorded one last week. So what makes a good website? It's interesting. We're an agency, right? There's like 13 people now here, Rain. It's ridiculous. And we do pretty nice websites, expensive websites, and all that kind of stuff. But I really believe that it just has to serve its intended purpose and speak to its audience the way the audience expects to be spoken to or wants to be spoken to, which means it can actually be really super basic. It doesn't have to be anything spectacular. I would say, I mean, usability, yes, is up there. But I guess from that perspective, when you talk about usability or user experience, what you're doing is you're thinking in terms of the audience. If I was this parent and I wanted to do this thing, or know what would I want to know? What would I want to see? How easy is it for me to do this thing? Quite often when people are putting together websites, they think in terms of organizing information. But I mean, when you think of an experience of going into Indigo versus a user experience of going into a library, actually the library is not that bad, but when you go, but it's, it's categories like this. There's, so when you think of, if you're thinking Dewey Decimal System and microfiche and all that kind of like categorization of information, that's not what people want from a website. They want to know that you understand them, that, you're there. It's almost like a concierge of, hey, you're a parent coming in here. You probably want to know a little bit about us, but you don't want to read all about us right now. If you're really interested in that, you'll go further there. So it's like, hey, great to see you. You probably want to know a little bit about our personality if we're supposed to connect and relate, especially we're taking care of your kids, or if you're going to entrust some part of your business with us, then let's relate a little bit, right? Give a little bit of a tone of character of whatever it happens to be. If it's humorous, it's like, hey, you found us. What did you want from us? Hopefully you wanted some website, something, right? Some little bit of something to do with personal. It doesn't have to be funny, but it can be personable. And then if they actually want to do something like buy from you, is that easy? Is that easy to contact you? Do you have your phone number at the top? Like a small business that, that you want phone calls, they oftentimes don't put their phone number right there, because it's kind of like there's so many websites out there, especially a lot more recent as things became very digital. You can't call them. Now that might be okay, but it also might not be okay, because they want that data point of being able to at least know I can connect with you and I don't always have to go through email, because who knows who you are, right? You could be this website that looks like you're in North America, but I don't know. If you have a storefront, like if you actually have brick and mortar, so many brick and mortar websites don't actually show that they have a real office or a real place. Show that. Show your address. Because all you're doing is thinking, what would that person want to know? That's user experience. What would that person want to do? And then you craft your website around that. Yeah, it's being empathetic. It's being empathetic to, it's doing things like testimonials, pages of testimonials. Like, here's my testimonial page, and it's just this long list of testimonials. That's not how people think of it. That's organizing of information. If I'm looking at your service or I'm looking at your homepage, a testimonial has to appear there, almost as if they can't ignore it, but it doesn't interrupt them. You scroll through it, right? I'm okay. This is you. Oh, somebody said something nice about you, and then you continue on. It's not even like a road bump. It's more just like one of those gentle ups and downs. Let's just make sure that you're going down this road the way I would like you to go down this road, paying attention to all the things I'd like you to pay attention to.
Awesome. Yeah. So relating to this question, right? So we talk about usability, user experience. What do you think about, copy? Because I find one of my challenges has been about getting good copies out there, right? For marketing, because copy is what enrolls people. So for a website, right? You need, what are your thoughts about copy? Even emails, when you send an email out, the copy makes a difference whether they're going to click and open your email and then actually read through your emails as well. So if you could talk just a little bit about copy, but also any tips you could provide those who are listening, where or how could they get support in regards to that?
So with copy, if you're looking for support, first of all, I'll start there and then we'll go into some tips. For copy, if you're looking for support, realize that there is brand messaging, marketing messaging, and then blog content writing, and then email marketing. Like, these are all very different ways of approaching communicating with somebody, and including social media posts. Like, these are all very, very different ways of communicating. So just because a person's a copywriter doesn't mean that they're going to be able to give you good marketing messaging on your homepage. In fact, it might even be worse. Possibly. Not necessarily, but possibly. Just so let me just position a few of the especially with websites, what the copy pieces are that you want. The first, I'm going to just go right from the top all the way down the page. So at the top, generally you want a tagline, right? GE brings good things to life type thing, or Nike's just do it, or whatever it happens to be. And there, all you're doing is saying, what, I just want to summarize everything down into something that's pretty memorable in just a few words that says, this is what this is about, if you can. Now, a tagline can be very functional. We build you great websites. We take your business to the next level. It doesn't necessarily have to be tremendously memorable, but it could be good to have a simple tagline. There, you're actually trying to edit down. Keep trying to get rid of words, and then see if you can introduce something that's slightly different. That's all. You just want something slightly different. That's where the memorability comes in. Then you get into marketing messaging, like who and what you're about, or that type of thing. This is your place to actually talk to a person. And this is where you don't want to say, hey, we're a business. We've been in business since 1995. We really think clients are very important. We do this, and this. You're not talking to a person. If I came to you, Rain, and I said, hey, tell me about your business. It's like, well, we've been in business. It's just not, it's like, hey, how are you? If you're looking for this, think about what that person might be looking for, and then you want to address it. This is where people start talking about pain points. What pain points, what problems are you solving? And then you talk about those problems. Here is where what happens, especially with small businesses, is people try to be everything for everybody. And therefore, it kind of weakens what you're going to say because you don't want to narrow it down. This is actually where you want to narrow it down. You want this, you found the right place. You want that, you found the wrong place. There's actually sometimes great copy. It's like, hey, if you're looking for this, oops, wrong place, goodbye. Like, and again, that stands out, like, because you're talking to a person, right? At least the person feels like they've been spoken to. Then you can get into a little bit more of the nitty-gritty. This is how we do it. And you can talk a little bit more about process. And that's where I would say, especially on homepage copy, what you want to do is write it out and then take out every single word you could possibly do, and it still actually conveys the meaning that you want. If you look at it and you're saying, okay, I'm conveying 10 things that are super important to me, look at it and say, can I not convey 10 things that are super important? Like, what's the top 3? What can I not include here that can happen later? Maybe actually even think of, you know what, this is really difficult for me to say. What can I do so that I can, maybe that actually should happen later on in the conversation, either deeper in the website or when we have a phone call or maybe an email exchange. So just really think in terms of what's most important to communicate and get across about your personality and why this might be a good fit and why it might not be a good fit. And then worry a little bit about try to get all the deeper stuff hidden on your website, essentially. Once you realize that most copywriting is all about actually editing out stuff that's not as important at this stage in the game, then you've won the copywriting game. And when you're working with a copywriter, ask them about that. Can we make this more succinct? And that'll go a long way.
I can give a quick example now too about the difference between like functional copy versus talking about benefits or talking about pain points. I was scrolling through Facebook today, and I saw one is basically a company that makes like the sneeze guards. Basically, you know how like you go to the grocery store now and they've got the like plexiglass or whatever it is, so you've got the barrier between you and the cashier. Basically, they do that, right? And they had a post on Facebook that basically said something like, you know, we make these, just call them sneeze guards. We make these sneeze guards. We can do them for any size for your business. Give us a call. We'll get one set up for you. And it's very kind of like, there's no like emotional response to that. It's very just kind of flat, right? And I was just kind of brainstorming off the top of my head. It's like, okay, what's a simple thing that I could do to kind of change that around? And the first thought that came to me was just like, hey, when your business reopens after COVID, do you want your customers to feel more safe or more trusting coming to your business? And business owners are like, yeah, I want my customers to feel more safe coming to my business, right? And so now that's kind of going in a little bit deeper and being like, okay, yeah, that's something that I want.
Yeah. So perfect, Arthur. What's the problem you're solving? What's the pain point? What's actually the person that wants to buy the sneeze guard wanting? Not, I want to buy a sneeze guard. It's, I want safe customers. I want this result on my business. I want whatever it happens to be. There's a bit of emotion to the second option that you went with there, Arthur. Like that's like, what is, actually, that's a great question from a copywriting perspective. What's the emotion behind selling this thing? What's the person behind selling this thing? It's not, okay, I want to put a piece of plastic on my counter. Yay. It isn't. It's like, I've always dreamed of having a piece of plastic on my counter, and now you have fulfilled my dream. Whoa. So yeah, think in terms of, I mean, we're people, right? Business is people. Marketing is about talking to people. So what's actually going on with that other person? Empathy.
Awesome. That's a great way to kind of finish this off. I know we've taken a lot of your time, but yeah, it's about marketing. It's about talking to people. I love that, right? Business communicating to their customer. So as you know, this is, Origin of Wisdom Biztalk show takeover of your show. I would love, so taken over. So I would love for you now to actually, typically I will ask, my guests to share about their business, but, I would love for you to talk about it because we are actually going to, be using the video again, right, in our platforms as well. So if you could talk about your company, Kobayashi and Zagais, what the company's about, and what are your niche, if you could, share a little bit about that, and how can people contact you, besides your daily show at 11 in the morning Eastern time.
Okay, thank you, Rain. Okay, so it's been such a pleasure being on your show today. Let me just say first that you've been a wonderful host. Okay, so my business is Kobayashi Zeitgeist. I'm the president of the company. My co-guest today is Arthur, and he is a marketing specialist here. What do we do? So
I think we do marketing.
Yeah, yes, we do marketing. Say it with confidence. We do marketing.
Marketing.
Yeah. So we're a marketing agency here in Toronto. We service North America. I could probably service around the world, but I think we're only doing people in North America right now. In terms of what we do, website, we do print. We do corporate identity. We just had a wonderful person join us who does events and influencer marketing. So we haven't introduced that really to our clients yet, but it certainly has that capacity. We've been doing this for 25 years. So there's probably very little that we haven't done, or the people that work with us have not done. Our niche, so again, 25 years, actually, we're almost in a sense a typical small business in that we don't so much have a niche, but we do have some very strong portfolio basis that we could say, yes, 100% we could do that. So I'll start with the not-for-profits, associations, organizations, all that kind of stuff. They have a particular sort of need, and we've done a ton of those things, and we could just support them, no problem, easy peasy. However, the place that we're playing at the most and the hardest right now is in small business. So I'll just say this right now, Rain, the number one thing that we want right now is to have every single client and every single person, this is our big, hairy, audacious 3-month goal, 6-month goal, is to have them not participate in the recession. That's what our show is about. That's what we're literally 2 days from now having what we call Give Away the Entire Agency Day, where we're taking everything in our agency and giving it to our clients for free. We're hoping to redo that again a few more times and also bring it to the public, so that we're just basically saying, let's put it this way. We know that we can have an impact in having people work through unprecedented times and new normals, and this has never happened, and oh my gosh, our GDP in Canada is going to tank by 10% this year, and what am I going to do, and fear, and whatever it is that's going on out there. And when the reason why I love marketing so much is because it's about growth, it's about possibility, it's about opportunity, it's about what's possible, right? That question that you can ask yourself when it's like, I can't see what to do. It is either I lose money or I work super hard. And the question is, how can I have lots of money and not work super hard? Just ask the question. Those types of things. Marketing is all about that kind of thought process. And so with small businesses, that's where we're focused on. We've got this show. We've got another show we call Kill the Guru, where we actually get small business owners on there. We have a Facebook group called, so look at facebook.com/group/Kill the Guru, where we're basically not the guru. We're the ones actually being killed. So the person,
it's a metaphor.
Violent, but, so that it's a metaphor. So that the person becomes their own guru, because they are. What we say doesn't matter. It's what the person does and integrates into their own being that matters, into their own business that matters. By the way, so much of the terminology I'm speaking here, what's possible, integration, all that kind of stuff, this is all from you, Rain. This is all what you brought into my life, which is so cool. But it's really important. Business is people. We're people. So you can reach us at kobayashi.ca. That's KOB, as in Bob, AYASHI.ca. Obviously, we have a show. Look for #COVID marketing. Week daily at 11:11 Eastern Standard Time. We do all sorts of stuff. We talk about LinkedIn strategies. Yesterday, we talked about sales strategies. We talked about lead generation. We talk about all sorts of stuff. Every Friday, we do #Kill the Guru. Again, it's on YouTube. It's on Facebook. It's on Periscope. We're on Twitch. Nobody watches us on Twitch, but
one
we're
day,
on Twitch.
one day.
One day people will watch us. What's possible with Twitch? Yes, we're gonna have to do gaming and marketing together.
As Wayne Gretzky famously said, you miss all the shots you don't take.
Yep, that's true. And we're taking many shots and they're all flying wide, but that's okay. We'll get there. So where else? Twitter is, I don't know what my Twitter is right now. My Twitter is @Brent BRD. Brent Kobayashi. You can see some of my posts there. Yeah, I think that's everything. That's where you can find us. That's all about us. We've got like this incredible, let's put it this way, Rain, ever since COVID, we used to be 5 or 6 people before this pandemic. We're like 13 now. So yeah, we're just like, let's put it this way. The mission of having both my team be good, my company be good, my staff be good now and in the year, 2 year, 3 year, like short-term future, plus have our clients be good. That's our niche. Like if you want somebody that's like all in on your side, is looking to start wherever you're at now and grow. And that might be just having a conversation. Have a conversation with us. Like we've got, like one of my creative strategist has won 65 awards, has worked for Procter & Gamble and has done this and has done that. You know, Maggie's did all of this stuff with all these brands. Like we've got some incredible people here. And we just want you who's watching to be good. So if you want to reach out to us, we might not, I can't give you the entire agency, obviously, but if it could be a conversation and we can bring some value to you, I know that that's going to bring value to the world and that some way it's going to come back. You want to talk about a karma or anything else like that? Actually, from a business perspective, it's so much more direct. I see it all the time when you're doing this stuff. Like it's, Rain, we talk about abundance very much. Like literally it just flies all over the place. It's so easy to bring in that abundance when you're doing the kind of activities we're doing.
Thank you. I was just want to say that, you know, especially in this time, you know, with what's happened with COVID, and, you know, this is the time to really have a online presence, you know,
Yeah.
and small businesses can't not look into it, not creating that presence for themselves, for their business to thrive. So, and I love that you have a mission. Your mission is to support them.
Yeah.
And for me, any company, you know, as long as you're clear on your why, you know, that's the way to go, right? And creating an impact in the world. And so thank you again for all the gems and the goal and all this information and wisdom you shared with me and those who are listening today. I will take on your challenge of doing the TikTok. I will let you know as we talk. I also want to kind of share that Arthur and Brent has been supporting me and my businesses, you know, in our marketing side, especially the digital side. And I always appreciate that. And, you know, both of you are really good at what you do. And once again, thank you for bringing all that valuable information, knowledge, and wisdom, you know, and continue to share it on your show every day.
Yeah.
Well, I do have to give a very, very, very big shout out to you, Rain, here, and a thank you. You were one of the first ones to take a chance on me and help me to get my start down this whole road. So thank you.
Likewise, I think it was a win-win. Yeah.
For sure.
So,
yeah, you know what? Let me just say, as far as the small business owners who are thinking, can I do this? I actually believe really super strongly when you show up as a small business owner and start doing your stuff and bringing your services and stuff to the world, you're showing up for the world. Like you are engaging. Your offering of your services and your products and all that type of stuff and generating that flow of cash, we'll call that the energy that cash is, you're showing up. And we can all just, it's good to pause 100%, regardless of some of the stuff that's really not good about the pause. That's great. But we also do express into this world. So when you're doing this type of stuff, what I think of as marketing, I believe you're showing up. And the world needs you. You matter. The world needs you. Show up. Get on TikTok.
Maybe I know you all both of you have been on TikTok, but what worked for me when I started doing my videos was Arthur was my buddy who kept me accountable
yeah.
to start on doing my live video, and then that got into my show now, right? My live, my it used to be daily, no longer daily. Now we're just doing 2 shows a week. So maybe that could be a challenge between the 3 of us, to do something. Let's see. That's an idea. And something just popped in, which could be an interesting idea. Anyway, I kind of also want to mindful to wrap up, but I think one of the gaps that I notice is a lot of, especially again, the smaller or solo entrepreneurs, who are their challenge is to first get started, second get ideas or understanding, maybe a meetup group or a mastermind group around this that you'll be running would be very interesting. So just a thought.
All right. We'll get right on that one. I love it. I really enjoy that. Yes.
Yeah, because the Seeds group, how they have a small group that's running it, but I think that could be beneficial to a lot of, because it can be overwhelming and daunting, to step into this. For me, that's how I experience it. And I think having that little guidance and once they kind of get a good sense, I would advise those business owners who are listening to invest, because at the end of the day, it's to invest in yourself and invest in your business, right? In order to do well and thrive. Yeah. But once again, thank you both of you just for being on the Origin of Wisdom Biztalk show Takeover this time, which is the new one. And once again, thank you for sharing all your wisdom with everyone today. Grateful to have you.
Awesome. Thank you. And we do have an outro, which we do. So I'm going to take my show back. Thank you very much for that takeover. It was awesome. And yeah, let's do this. And thank you so much, Rain. I really, really appreciate you coming on.
Likewise,
yeah.
It was fun.
So David, cue music whenever you want. That was good. There we go. We have different
You've
outro
tuned
music.
in to COVID Marketing with Brent Kobayashi and Arthur Tutt, the show that supports small business not just to survive, but to thrive.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's right. You have been listening to episode number 86. Holy moly. Of COVID Marketing, the Takeover by Dr. Rain Lim of Origin of Wisdom. My goodness, that was so wonderful to have you on here. Thank you for interviewing. I need to now take over your show, by the way, and I will interview you on your show. Is that a deal?
Yes, that's the deal.
All right, very good. I'm going to take over your show, and we can really dig into what it means to, there's so much that I know that needs to be shared from you and your perspective. You already have been so ridiculously generous with the sharing that you've already provided for me, for Carolyn, for Arthur, for many people that I know. So all of you who are tuning in, you kind of heard it in the middle of the show, but I would say, yes, do check out Rain. You can find her at, it's originofwisdom.com.
Yep.
And you can also their signature program at seedsleadership.com. Seeds, like the stuff you plant in the ground, and in your brain. Okay, and in your heart. Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you for having me take over your show.
It was a pleasure. All right, and then we switch. Arthur says something, and then he goes cut. That's how we do this.
Let's cut it.
Sweet.